As I stated in the previous part, materialism is a subset of metaphysical realism. So what is an example of metaphysical realism that is not materialistic? Hopefully we can clear up that distinction in the following 3 parts of this series. Let's take a look again at the terms object, subject and concept, and let's focus on the term concept. Let's make a distinction between 3 views which place each of the 3 terms as fundamental and the other 2 as contingent. Keep in mind, however, that there are variants of each of these 3 views, but those distinctions will be made in a later part. We also need to adjust the terminology a bit, but we'll do that as we go along. So these are the 3 views. Subject is fundamental, object and concept are contingent upon subject. Concept is fundamental, object and subject are contingent upon concept. And object is fundamental, subject and concept are contingent upon object. The terminology may get confusing this way though, so let's adjust it a bit. We'll probably have to adjust it even further later on, but for now let's change object to physical object, let's change concept to abstract object, and let's change subject to mind. I do need to emphasize, however, that these diagrams are merely about what is fundamental and what is contingent. There is not yet a distinction regarding the actual nature of mind, abstract object and physical object. Those distinctions, or lack thereof, will be made in a later part and are not yet represented in these diagrams. Let's simply label these categories as A, B and C for now. Categories B and C are both metaphysical realist ontologies, because in both views reality is fundamentally mind-independent. However, where A and C share a similarity is what place abstract objects have in reality. Both views regard the conceptual as not fundamental. However, what the nature of abstract objects is believed to be in either view may depend upon what the nature of mind is believed to be, and whether the abstract objects are regarded as having a real independent existence as actual entities or not. Now, I would like to talk about the distinction between Platonism, conceptualism and nominalism, but I think there are some problems with how to distinguish between conceptualism and nominalism. And all these isms can get pretty confusing anyway. So I want to keep things a bit more simple and simply focus on the nature of concepts in materialism. So the only distinction I will make is between Platonic realism and Platonic non-realism. Platonic realism is the view that concepts are a separate category from physical objects and also have a mind-independent existence. Platonic non-realism then would be the view that concepts do not have an independent existence. So what does this mean in the context of materialism? It means that concepts are descriptions of the actual and potential. A label for this is fictions. A way to visualize this could be as follows. There is a fundamental material, there are emergent non-fundamental configurations of material. The mental is a specific process emerging from at least one of such configurations. The mental has what we call experiences, caused by interactions with other configurations. Certain minds with sufficient intelligence can describe experiences using symbols and sounds we call language. They can separate and rearrange aspects of their experience, meaning that they can both describe what they do experience, as well as configurations of things that they have experienced but not in that specific configuration. The actual and the potential. And this is what we call the conceptual. Let me give an example to make this a bit more clear. I experience what we label as shape, depending on the language of course. I experience what we label as color, and I can make distinctions between not that color and not that shape. For example, a purple cube. A description of this is the concept of a purple cube. But as I said, there is more to this than merely describing the experience. The potential is when we mix concepts together in configurations that we haven't actually experienced, even though every single aspect of it has been experienced in some way. For example, the concept of a purple dragon, which is a mixture of color, shape, texture, abilities, a broader category we call organisms, specifically animal, or more specifically reptile, etc. In other words, the potential is a configuration of descriptions of experiences which I have not experienced in that specific configuration. Now, whether or not such a configuration could exist is a matter of epistemology, not ontology. including to what extent what we label as the actual is in fact actual. Also, whether fictions accurately describe the physical or not is also a matter of epistemology and not ontology. So don't confuse the term fiction in this context with how we tend to use it when talking about fictional stories, for example, meaning that what is described in the story didn't actually happen and that the characters aren't real people. All it means in this context is that a concept is not real in the sense of having a mind-independent existence, and not that it could not be descriptive of something that is real. That is a matter of epistemology. So materialism is a type of realism in which concepts do not have some sort of independent existence, meaning that they are contingent upon, but also can be reduced to the mental and to the physical. But as already stated, the mental is also not only contingent upon the physical, but can be reduced to the physical. So in the next two parts we're going to take a closer look at what reducing to implies and the nature of the mental in materialism. And unfortunately this includes even more isms, monism and physicalism.